All right. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today on our conversation about the semester conversion. My name is Matt O'Brien, and I'm the Director of Online Student Services for the College of Online Education here with Johnson & Wales. First, I'd like to say thank you to everyone, one, for joining us tonight, but also for sending your questions in ahead of this event. We greatly appreciate that because we were able to basically take this conversation and the deck that we've created here and kind of steer it towards some of the questions that we saw that were very common, very kind of showed up a couple times. So what we'd like to do is also give you the opportunity to ask additional questions. So you may have thought of something afterwards or forgot to include it. Please feel free to use the chat feature. The other thing that we have here tonight is the advisors are actually available as well. So if you do have something that's related to you that's a little bit more personal or really relates back to your academic program, what we'll do is we'll follow up with you tomorrow and set up an appointment to actually go over it in a little bit more detail so that it's more personalized for you. So to actually get started tonight, I've asked two of the advisors, Jessica Rounds and Gary Rabinowitz, to assist us with the conversation today. So Jess, why don't you kick it off?
Thank you, Matt. Hi, everyone. As Matt said, I'm Jess, one of the online academic advisors, and I want to thank you again for taking the time to attend this session tonight. So this fall, Johnson & Wales will be, as you know, going to a semester model. We previously, as a university, were term-based until the university made the decision for both on-campus and online to transition to the semester model. They did that for a couple reasons. For the university, the benefit for on-campus students is internships and sports. They fit better into this model since the majority of other higher ed institutions follow a semester-based model. I'm sure many of you have been to other schools in the past or know people who have, and they're probably already on a semester model. Internships at various sites fit better into a semester model because they're already set up for that. And sports teams will also increase their opportunities for play. So overall, this experience makes Johnson & Wales more competitive. Now, for us online, we also saw this as an opportunity for students because it gives students the opportunity to have an ability perhaps to focus on one course at a time and to have additional start times for our online population. As many of you know, you're busy with you have work and families. So having that extra start may benefit you there as well. So at this point, I'm actually going to hand it over to Gary because he's going to actually talk to you about what the semester model is and what it's going to look like. So Gary?
Thanks, Jess. Thanks everybody for taking time out of your day. Much appreciated. This slide probably shows the most transparent difference between what you've been used to in an 11-week term and the semester, which will be starting in a couple weeks. And the 11-week term, you took your classes, you were done. Within the semester module, you will have a 16-week semester, and that will be broken into 2 distinct sessions. So there are a handful of 16-week classes that you may come across in your program, but the majority of classes will be 8 weeks. So if you are busy and you have a lot going on with work and family commitments, you can conceivably take 1 class each session for a total of 2 classes for the semester and probably not feel so overwhelmed with your academic demands. So that's one good thing. You can also do 2 per session for a total of 4, which would conceivably get you to graduation a little bit more quickly than if we stuck with the term module. So that's another benefit for you guys as well. I think you will be able to average more classes per year overall with the fall, spring, summer semesters. That's good. And the other thing, our grad program did this 2 years ago, and the feedback from the students on the grad level has been overwhelmingly positive. So I think it'll allow you guys to have a little bit more flexibility and be able to arrange your program based on what's going on in your life outside of school. Jess?
All right, thanks, Gary. Now that you've got a better understanding based on that visual we just had of what exactly the semester model is going to look like, I know that some of you had some questions about, sessions and all of that thing. So I hope that picture with that bar that showed the 16 weeks and then the 2 shorter 8 weeks was helpful to you. So then we want to also look at the difference between the terms and the semesters. It's not just the duration of the 11 weeks, but also when we were on terms, we actually had 4 different terms, essentially 1 each season, right? We had fall, winter, spring, and summer. Now, as you can see on this chart right here, or the slide rather, we only have 3 seasons that we're going to, because 3 semesters. So we've got fall, spring, and summer, and you can see there the span of the months that it covers. But as Gary said and showed, we have sessions within each of the fall, spring, and summer semesters. So 3 semesters, but yet with the sessions, you actually have 6 starts versus the previous under terms where you had 4 starts. So again, there's no winter anymore, but spring is going to span that January to May piece for you. And I know some students, because I had seen some of the questions that you sent in before, so thank you again for that. And I know some students had questions about how to tell the difference between each session when you're trying to register. So when you're looking in there at your registration, you're looking at courses. If you're looking for a session 1 course, for example, you always want to look for the course code of O and the number 1. This is going to be session 1. In 012, so sometimes you'll see that 01 and then another number means 012 means session 1 and section 2 for that particular course. So maybe that course is marketing. But now when you're looking for a session 2, you're always going to look for 02 to identify as session 2. The key really is the first number after the O is always going to tell you which session the course is in. Now, we also have those 16-week courses that Gary referenced, and there's a handful of them. Now, those codes, they're slightly different, and the trigger to that will be, it's going to be an OL or an ONL. There won't be that O with a number. But this being said, we really like it as advisors when students reach out to us and have conversations, and we always encourage students to reach out to us. So if you ever need registration assistance or support, or you have questions, please, that's what we're here for, and we want to hear from you. The other thing I want to say is the best advice I can give you when it comes to registration is register early and as soon as possible. That way you can ensure that you're getting the courses you need and want, and early registration helps us out too, in terms of projections and making sure the courses are going to run. Also, if you register early and then find out you need to adjust your schedule, that's okay. We can always change that and we can always work with you. So hopefully that's helpful to you. Gary is now going to take you through the next slide about benefits and workload and credits.
So as I alluded to earlier, the flexibility element is a huge benefit for students. And one of the aspects of that, which I forgot to mention earlier, is that with the 2 sessions, you can actually start a semester during session 2. So for instance, this fall semester, we start on August 31st, but let's say something's going on with work or in life that prevents you from starting on August 31st, you would be able to start on October 26th in the 2nd session and still take 2 classes for the semester. So that adds to the other flexible elements that we mentioned earlier. So that's a good thing. I think that's one of the best benefits that you'll see, and the ability to tailor your schedule to what you need for that moment moving forward in your program. As far as the workload goes, it is still going to be the same curriculum, same rigor. Each class is different. Each instructor is different, and most importantly, each student is different. So how you handle one class may be different than how you handle another class. If you're allergic to math, that might be a little bit more challenging, but that would be the same in any module that you're using. So expect to put in the same amount of work throughout the semester that you would have previously. And then the big question is losing credits or classes. You will not. You will not have to take any additional classes in your program. It will remain the same. The credits will look different because we transitioned from 4.5 quarter credits over to 3 semester credits. But again, that will not impact how many classes you need to take in order to complete your program.
Great, thanks, Gary. And finally, you know, you have a great support team at Johnson Wales University, and I hope you're all aware of that. And we know this is a major change and understand it can be confusing. So please reach out to your academic advisor with any questions you have, specifically those of you who submitted some questions about the impact on your graduation date. Each person has a different situation, and we're happy to have these conversations with you and to walk you through what that's going to look like. You can always locate who your advisor is if you're unsure by going into JWU link, and then under the academics tab, you can locate your grad planning system or GPS, and our names are all up on that GPS once you open it up. Some of you, if you have questions about financial aid and how this is going to change, and how this change specifically will impact you, contact your financial planner. Everyone has their own unique financial situation, and like advisors, the financial planners are there to support you and really have those conversations. And then finally, I know some of you are continuing on with your master's. Please ask your admissions representative what this means and what it looks like. They're all trained on this, and they're super knowledgeable about the way the semester models work. So whether it's your academic advisor, your financial planner, or your online admissions representative, we can all help you with this. So we're here for you.
Great. Thank you, Jess, and thank you, Gary. And thanks to the advisors as well for being on this call. I just want to give some opportunity for any of our participants to ask questions during this session. It looks like we didn't get anything through the chat, but you can ask your question now if you have anything you'd like to do. Okay, well, thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. And again, if you do have any further questions or if you think about anything that you saw today, please feel free to reach out to your academic advisor, and we'd be more than happy to work with you to get those questions answered. Okay? Actually, let's see. Looks like actually we did have some chat questions come in. So Mo, we have the first question is, how does this affect classes that have already registered for fall? Can you answer that one for us?
Sure. It shouldn't affect anything for fall. You should have already hopefully scheduled for either a session 1 or a session 2 course, because we were only scheduling on the semester model. So if you're not sure about what classes you've scheduled for, or what sessions you've scheduled for, you can certainly go on to JWU link and look up your classes, or you're always welcome to speak to your advisor. We can kind of walk you through what sessions you're scheduled for, and help you anyway if you need to make any changes to those. So for example, if you didn't actually want to, if you maybe aren't taking any classes because you thought you had to start session 1 August 31st, and you want to start session 2, we'll be happy to make those arrangements for you.
Great, and we actually had a second question that relates to this. When will I have to register for session 2?
So session 2 begins on October 26th. It would be best to register even now for session 2, just so that we can get you in the classes, because classes do fill up quickly. So we want to try to get you into the sessions, whether it's 1 or 2, you know, now as opposed to waiting. But you actually can schedule for session 2 right up until classes begin. But we do advise that you do it sooner rather than later, because the classes do fill up quickly, and I would imagine that session 2 courses will be filled up rather quickly.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I know Jess also mentioned something similar. Um, I think from the advising standpoint and from our point of view, the sooner that you can register for both session 1 and session 2, the better off you're going to be. And those registration dates open at the exact same time. So obviously, as we move forward, and we've got fall starting here, really in less than about a week, I guess. As you move into spring and then into the summer semester, you may say, "Hey, listen, I'm only going to go for the summer session 2." Don't wait until summer session 1 starts to register for that second session. Get in there early, get that class, get any kind of financial aid or anything that you need set up, so that when that date shows up, all you have to do is go to class. Let's see, Felicia, looks like we have a second question, or another question here. Are classes still the same price, or is there an adjustment due to the shorter class lengths? Could you answer that one for us?
Sorry about that, I was muted. Yeah, so you would want to reach out to your financial planner for that. The adjustment, is there an adjustment due to the shorter class lengths? So your financial planner will be able to answer any cost changes for you, and you can discuss financial aid, anything like that.
Yeah, so fortunately for us, the pricing for the actual class itself is remaining the same. There really isn't any change, and a lot of students are maybe looking at the cost per credit and thinking, oh, did the class go up? It didn't. So the actual cost per course is going to remain the same, but since we're converting from a 4.5 credit course to a 3 credit course, you would see the actual cost per credit does look like it changes, but it's not going to cost you anything more being in the semester model like it was when you were doing the term models. We have another question. Harry, would you be able to answer this one for us? Will we still be notified when to register?
Definitely, and thank you everybody for being here this evening. Yeah, actually, when registration opens, you typically receive emails and text messages from the advisors and from the university itself. So when registration opens, as Maureen was alluding to earlier, you'll have the opportunity to register for session 1 and session 2. So for instance, for this fall semester, the registration opened up back in April, and we've been able to start registering people for both. So it would be wise at the time, if you can, to register for both at the same time. But as Gary was saying earlier, if you know that something is going on, you always have that freedom to wait. But registration for session 2 is currently open. It will be.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions before we wrap this up? Okay, everybody. Well, again, thank you for joining us this evening. We hope that this was informative. And again, please feel free to reach out to your financial advisors, your financial planners, excuse me, or your academic advisors if you have additional questions. And we look forward to seeing you virtually in the fall. Talk to you soon. Thank you, everybody. Bye.